Your VA rating is not as finished as you think. The proof is a monthly check most veterans never go collect. $675 every month that they're already owed. It doesn't come from a new injury or a worse exam. It comes from a condition you already have, quietly causing a second one. File that second one, and the VA owes you more. The VA calls it a secondary condition. And here's the piece I'm holding back for a minute. Whether that second condition counts has almost nothing to do with how bad it is. It comes down to one medical link in writing that most veterans never get onto paper. Pin that word, nexus.
May here. And start with the part that stops people before they even try. Your original condition, the service-connected one, can be rated at 0%, paying you nothing, and still anchor a secondary that pays plenty. It sounds backwards, I know, but 0% on paper still means service-connected, and service-connected is the whole key that unlocks the rest. 0 doesn't mean worthless. It means it's on the books, and on the books is all the anchor has to be.
Today we're going one level past a first claim into the conditions your first claim can quietly unlock. And it matters because this is real money sitting unclaimed for veterans who assume the door already closed on them.
Think of it like a chain. One link is your service-connected condition. The next link is the new problem. And the nexus is the weld between them. No weld, and they're just two links lying side by side, and the VA pays nothing. The weld is a doctor writing that the second is at least as likely as not caused by the first.
So wait, even when it's obvious? My back is shot, the nerve pain is obviously coming from the back, and the VA can still say no just because nobody wrote that one sentence? That's the part that stings. Obvious to me isn't a nexus. Where's the line?
That's exactly the line, Liam. Get the weld, and the secondary earns its own rating and combines into your total, which lifts the whole check. Miss it, and the strongest case in the world sits at 0. I've watched veterans carry an obvious secondary for years, worth real money to their family, and never see a dollar because that one sentence was never in the file. Both things are true here. The connection can be completely real and still not count until it's documented. One resource before we go deeper. We keep the full 2026 rate tables and a plain English claim guide free at va.professorerica.com, no sign up, so you can check your own numbers as we go. And I'll just say it plainly. A secondary claim is almost always worth filing.
Is it though? Honest pushback before you finish. If the pain's already wrapped into my main rating, why go start a whole second claim for it?
Because you're not filing for the same pain twice. You're filing for a different disability the first one caused, and that's its own rating, its own money. Whether you actually win it comes down to one thing, the same thing I keep circling back to. It comes down to the quick, honest ask while we are here. If this has been worth your time so far, hit like, then subscribe and ring the bell. I know everyone asks, but this one is free, and it is how a small channel like this actually grows. Link, that's the whole game, and it's exactly why I pulled in someone who studies how the VA connects one condition to another. Professor Nakamura, welcome to the desk. May, Elena, jump in wherever.
Glad to be here, Professor Erica. And the first thing people get wrong is that linked means one thing, it means two. Causation is one road where your service-connected condition directly caused the new one. Aggravation is the other where it didn't cause it, but it made something you already had measurably worse. Both count. Both need proof.
So picture the whole claim balanced on that proof. Elena called it a weld earlier, and that's exactly it. The two conditions are the metal, and the nexus is the weld that fuses them. A doctor writes one sentence, that the second condition is at least as likely as not caused by the first. That phrase is a legal 50-50, not definitely, not probably, just as likely as not. Clear that bar, and the VA has to join them. Fall short, and they stay two separate pieces forever, and the pairings aren't exotic. The three you'll see constantly: sleep apnea after PTSD, because the stress wrecks your breathing at night; radiculopathy, nerve pain shooting down the leg; from a service-connected back, and depression, from years of living with chronic pain. Real, recognized, common as
dirt, and denied just as often. Obvious isn't a nexus, May.
fair. That's the whole point, actually. Obvious never gets written down.
She's right, and that's the trap. I can't tell you why any one veteran got denied without reading their file, but the pattern is almost always the same. The record had the diagnosis, it had the history, and no doctor ever wrote the sentence that links them. Obvious to a human being isn't the same as documented for a ratter.
So let me lay this out side by side. On the side that connects, sleep apnea after PTSD, leg radiculopathy from a rated back, depression from chronic pain. Every one of them links only once the sentence is written down. This is exactly where people talk themselves out of money they're owed.
Elena's right that obvious gets denied, I'll give her that. So here's the sharper question, Professor Nakamura, and I'm just going to call the whole thing the sentence because that's what it is. Whose sentence counts? Does it take a specialist, or will your own doctor do?
Which link though, causation or aggravation? Because the answer's different. For causation, your own treating doctor carries real weight. They've watched it happen to you. A messy aggravation case can want a specialist, but signed, dated, at least as likely as not, in the file. In both worlds, that's the flaw.
And one honest thing, because it can cost you. A private nexus letter runs several $100s, and it is not a guarantee. So don't lead with your wallet. Start with the doctor who already treats you. They know your history, and they're
free, which is the part nobody tells you.
Free, and often stronger because they've already got the records. Plan from there.
Okay, say I've never done any of this. Walk me through it like I'm brand new, Professor Nakamura. What do I actually put in front of the VA?
3 things. The condition you're already rated for, the new condition, named plainly, and the sentence, from a doctor tying the two together at least as likely as not. That's the whole file. Everything else is just the form.
So there's the ruling, and it's va.gov's, not mine. Causation or aggravation, proven by the sentence at least as likely as not. And a 0% primary still counts. Professor Nakamura, thank you. Genuinely, that's the cleanest version of this I've heard.
Anytime, Professor Erica, get the sentence in the file. Everything after that is arithmetic.
Everything so far is how a secondary is supposed to work. But knowing how it works and getting it approved are 2 different animals. Because there are 3 specific ways one of these claims dies, and almost every denial in the pile is one of the 3.
Three boxes. Miss one, and the strongest secondary in the world still comes back denied. I've read those letters. Real, winnable claims, denied on arrival because a single box sat empty. And I mean money left on the table for years, not some technicality. The condition is real, the connection is real, and it still pays 0, all because of a box nobody told the veteran to check. So before you file, stress test yours against all 3, because a rater is about to do exactly that.
Okay, but which 3? I'd have guessed you get the doctor's sentence and you're done.
I wish it were just the sentence. Box 1 is the anchor. The condition you're building off of has to already be service-connected, even at 0%, but it has to be on the books. Box 2, a real diagnosis of the new condition, written down by a doctor. And box 3, the nexus, that at least as likely as not link in the file. 3 boxes. Leave one empty, and it's a denial, not a maybe.
3 boxes, and any empty one sinks the whole claim. So which one trips people up the most?
Box 1 is where people trip first, and it's the brutal one. You cannot hang a secondary on a condition the VA never granted. If your back claim got denied, then radiculopathy secondary to that back has nothing to attach to. No anchor, no secondary. Win the primary first. And then the things it caused finally have somewhere to land.
So the order matters. Anchor first, Everything else hangs off it.
Order is everything. Box 2 catches the people who are the most sure they're right. You feel the nerve pain, so you write nerve pain on the form. But you don't get to diagnose your own
Case. The VA's heard, but I can feel it about 10,000 times.
Exactly my point. Feeling it and proving it are different sports, which puts us on box 3, the nexus. The one sentence we keep circling back to. No, at least as likely as not in the record. No secondary. That isn't the VA being cruel. It's the VA refusing to guess. If it isn't written down, to a rater it didn't happen.
And there's a fourth trap that only hits one road, the aggravation road. If your rated condition made something you already had worse, the VA pays for the worst part, and only that part, which means they need a baseline, a snapshot of how bad it was before, in the medical record. No baseline, nothing to measure the increase against, so nothing to pay. On an aggravation claim, get the before and the after both documented.
And there's one place all 3 boxes get tested at once. After you file, the VA may send you to a claim exam, the compensation and pension exam, the C&P. It is not treatment. The examiner works from a disability questionnaire built for your exact claim, checks whether the condition is really there, how bad it is, and whether the link actually holds. If your file is already complete, the VA can decide on the records alone and never schedule one at all.
So when that letter comes, show up and be honest about your worst days, not your best ones. Because the exam is where a thin file gets exposed. Everything you couldn't prove on paper, the examiner is now the one deciding in a 15-minute appointment. A thin file is what forces the exam, and a thin file is what
Fails it. So stack the file before they ever schedule you.
fails it every time. Build it before you file, and the exam turns into a formality instead of a gamble. Plan from there.
So that's the real homework. Before you ever touch the form, pull every diagnosis, set it next to the service-connected condition it came from, and get one sentence tying each pair together. 2 conditions, and the one sentence that welds them. Do that for every pair, and you walk in with a file the VA can't wave off. That is the whole difference between a denial and a grant.
Fill those 3 boxes and the exam becomes the easy part. Which leaves the only question that's left. Wait until you see what all of this is actually worth, because the number is bigger than almost anyone expects.
Okay, I have to say it. Sorry, Hal, but the way I always pictured a second claim, forget how I pictured it. I thought it would cannibalize the first one, like the VA robbing one pocket to fill the other. Turns out 50 plus 30 isn't even 80, and it still beats what I expected. I would have the come from.
Run it. Take Marcus, Army vet, rated 50% for a service-connected back, single, no kids at home. In 2026, his check is $1,132.90 a month. That's the whole thing, before the secondary, and Marcus figures that's just what 50% pays and there's nothing more to do.
Now his back throws nerve pain down the leg, radiculopathy, and on its own it rates 30%. Here's the trap people fall into. 50 plus 30 is not 80. The VA combines them. 50, then 30% of what's left, lands at 65. And 65 rounds up to 70. So 70%, single, pays $1,808.45. 1808 minus 1132, call it 675. $675.55 more every month for a body that didn't change.
So the total. Marcus goes from $1,132 to $1,808 a month, the day the secondary is granted. $675 every month. That's roughly $8,000 a year he was owed and never claimed, for the same body he already lived in.
Pause right here and grab your rating letter. I'll wait. Find every condition you're service connected for, and ask what each one might quietly be causing. Rated for PTSD, sleep apnea might be sitting right there. Rated for a bad knee, look at the other knee and the hip that overcompensated for years. Living with chronic pain? Depression counts too. Your primary is the map. Follow it.
And all of it runs through one box. One box. On one form.
Via Form 21-526EZ. Item 16 is where you list the condition, and you write it in one specific shape, the secondary, then the word secondary to, then the primary. The form even prints its own example, left knee, secondary to right knee. Copy that shape exactly.
Wait, read me the actual line the doctor has to write, not the gist, the words.
It is at least as likely as not that the veteran's radiculopathy was caused by the service-connected lumbar strain. Signed, dated. That one sentence is the whole claim. Go get it written.
So here's the ruling. 1. If you're service connected for anything, list every condition it might be causing on that 526EZ. 2. Get the sentence in writing, at least as likely as not, and your own doctor can write it, most of the time. A truly messy case might want a specialist. And file now, because the effective date is the day you file, not the day the pain started. Every month you wait is a month you don't get paid for.
And the money's real, not a loophole. And nobody robbed a pocket to get it. It's the same body. One link, one form. 50% becomes 70. 1132 becomes 1808. The VA already owes it the day the paper proves it.
So here's the one I'll leave you with. You're rated for one thing today, so what has it been quietly causing that you've never thought to claim? That's the whole move. One condition you already have, one it caused, one sentence, one form. Pull your rating letter, find the link, and file it. And before we go, one honest favor. If this series is helping you, hit that like button and subscribe. Every like and every subscriber is genuinely what builds this series and lets us keep making the next one for you. Class dismissed. Thank you for learning with me today. This is Professor Erica.